What up? Happy morning. Happy morning. Happy morning. Happy Monday. I love you, Rodney. Yesterday was a good day. It was a really good day. Watch the music you listen to when you go through stuff. There's a song called White Flag by Ditto. When I was writing that letter to myself, I put on like my Spotify and that song came on, and sometimes the music will tell you some shit, man, and like it's like, fuck, man. Anyways. Okay. So, that's not the nature of this video. I thought to myself, if I record videos of me just going through shit and I don't record how I'm getting through it, because like eventually I'm gonna go back and look at this stuff. Even if I don't, like if a person doesn't have to watch all 480 whatever videos. There are sections throughout this series that I'm doing of how I got through stuff, my bills. Like if you go back, to not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, and you watch that shit, where I was like living in Oxford House, and I was living, and I was paying for the other house, and I was paying for somebody to live in that house, that, like all that stuff, right? You can listen to me talk myself through it, about the bills, and I don't know how I'm gonna afford Christmas, blah blah blah, and how I progress through it, relationships, the whole nine. And so I think it's important for me as I do this series to do that, and I keep telling myself, you only have a few left, but I have as many as I'm gonna have, and I am gonna try to cut it off at the 500 mark. But I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they're like, hey man, if this is helping you, if it really is, and like I had to ask myself honestly, is this helping me? Yes. I mean, there's some videos in here that's all ego, for sure. Like it might have a good message, but it's still all, like there's still that, but but it is helping me. Like, so I was challenged last night, and I feel like I stepped up to the plate, because yesterday was Palm Sunday, and I wrote to myself, and like just it all coincided with me getting through something, and my skin wasn't crawling anymore, my chest wasn't hurting anymore, that kind of stuff, and it really helped me. And so like I shared about that, I shared about how I wrote to myself and all of that, and then I shared a little bit about that story of Jesus walking through the crowd knowing that he's going to be crucified. And I said his name in a meeting, and then like somebody pulled me aside that I love and care about and respect, and she's gone on hikes with me and everything, like that's my person, and like one of my best friends, like, and she pulled me and she let me know, hey man, we're spiritual, not religious. And like she wasn't wrong. In my mind, I'm like, hey, I can use the word God, but I can't say the word Jesus. And like, of course, that popped into my head, and my disease will tell me to differentiate myself from the program. Because when I do that, when I give myself a good enough reason that I don't need to be going to meetings, I'm gonna roll with it. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna do this instead, and then start working my own program that has nothing to do with the program. And this program is keeping me clean. Yeah, God is keeping me clean. So I want to talk. I feel like these last ones, if they're last ones, right? They should be. Have to have a message of recovery attached to it. Have to have a message of what it means to me and how I'm still staying clean. And here's the thing. Step 2 and step 3 are about a higher power, and we're in a program that says that we get to choose a higher power of our own. And I do know this too, take myself aside. If I go up in there talking about Jesus on a mule while they're screaming out, while they're chanting Hosanna in a meeting where somebody just got out of treatment or somebody is off the streets and they've been challenged with that. Maybe, just maybe, the church that they went to when they were a kid is the whole reason that they're like, F that, you know, like, and the most important person in the room is the newcomer. I'm still a newcomer. So like for me to come in there and be like, hey, it's supposed to be this way, I'm tripping. Like I'm totally tripping. It's okay for me to love God. It's okay for me to love Jesus. And I can still do that, but I don't have to be up in there preaching as if I'm a preacher, as if I know scripture, like Pastor Stephen Furtick or whatever, you know, like I don't. So when I hear a sermon and then I start doing my videos, you know, I have to remember, yo, come on. And so like I had a really good conversation with her afterwards, apologizing and playing my part. It's about, this thing is about, sure, you need a higher power. Your higher power doesn't have to be mine. And I don't have to be trying to sell my higher power to you either. I don't do that to my kids. I think it's important that as addicts, whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, that when you're stressed to the fucking max and you're trying to stay straight, sober, clean, whatever you want to call it, you can look up and say, fuck man, I need your help. To whatever that looks like. I love that I'm in a program I get to choose my higher power. I went to, like when I was trying to get baptized, I was trying to figure out where I'm going to get baptized, what my home church is going to be, because I already picked a home group, because I home group shopped. And then after about 2 weeks of home group shopping, I was like, okay, I got a home group. I was like, okay, now I'm going to find a church group, like a church, a home base. And I was going to this one where it's a good church. A lot of people go to it that I know. But he was talking about politics. And it was during the election. And I was so turned off by that, I didn't want to go to the church anymore. So here I sit in a meeting, same scenario. And then I'm gonna feel like I'm right. Like I'm in my mind, I'm like, I get to share whatever the fuck I want to share. Then I'm not really about Narcotics Anonymous. It becomes Rodney Anonymous. And that's not what this is about. We get to choose whatever the fuck higher power we want to choose. And it's important to have one. But if you're just coming up in there, you might not even have the concept of that at all. You're like, I just want to fucking not get loaded anymore. And I can't. So this is the one place they say that is safe. And I need to make sure I remember that. It has nothing to do with like a knock against my higher power, my religion, or any of that. I've done some shitty shit. I've thought some terrible things. So for me to come up in there and act all holy is fucking ridiculous. Like I'm still broken as fuck. I'm still working through that. But I'm doing a lot better than I was. So Narcotics Anonymous gives me the ability to, this program gives, you know, I got to remember anonymity, right? Even talking about the program in here, but this is personal anonymity. So Narcotics Anonymous for me gives me the ability to choose whatever higher power I see fit for me. Because there's going to be a time that there's not going to be a meeting. Nobody's going to answer the phone. I'm going to be with myself. And if my relationship with that isn't strong enough, it's going to be me, myself, and that. And that's the only thing that's going to prevent me from getting loaded again. And so far, it's been there for me. This season of my life that I'm in currently, I haven't felt like getting loaded. And it's been a season of my life where I've had all kinds of emotions, ups and downs. They've been so intense, super intense. I beat on myself, everything. And my higher power intervened while I was writing yesterday. I believe. That's me. because I just left my mind open. I just wrote a letter to myself. And as I was writing that letter to myself, I was talking good to myself. And in talking good to myself, it connected with a sermon that I watched, like perfectly, and I cried. And so that's my higher power working for me. For me. And if I didn't have my higher power throughout this last year and a half, I would have gotten loaded, for sure. I know that. Because my higher power gives me the ability to be like, yo, help this person out. It gives me the ability to be like, go make that meeting. Go work that step. I remember I was tripping about 7 months ago. Tripping. And I decided my skin was crawling. I couldn't focus. And I decided to finish step 4. And it really got me through it. So, that was my higher power working there. So, this message is about the importance for me of having a higher power. Whatever that looks like to you, it will look like to you. But when they say we don't have to do this alone, we don't have to do this alone. I mean, yeah, there are the people in recovery. If it wasn't for my friend coming up to me after the meeting saying, yo, can we talk for a minute? I'd probably be still up in there preaching about this shit, which isn't good. I don't want to turn people off. And I feel like this person loves me enough to know that maybe I have something that is worthy of saying. And if I start doing that, then people ain't gonna listen to me in there. And it's not about like they need to listen to me, but we all earn our seat in that place. And it's about attraction rather than promotion. And it's about principles over personalities. I have fucking been this personality over principle for a minute here these last couple of weeks. You know. And I've had to deal with the insecurities coming out really heavy and my character defects just exuding out of my fucking pores because of it. And luckily I didn't burn too many bridges. It's about doing the next right thing. I had a battle with one of the other stores. I'll call myself out here. We don't intersell. So like if somebody worked at another store and they come into my store, it's free game. That's just the way it is. It's sales. And so I didn't put somebody on a deal, and it turned into an issue, a big issue. And it was personality over principle there. And they ended up on the deal, but it was a huge ordeal. There's, you know, and all I kept saying is, well, fucking man, there's so many times I see people that I worked with over at these other stores and I never once bitch about it. That it doesn't matter. It was case by case situation. And then on Saturday, somebody had come in and they were getting some accessories put on their vehicle, and the salesperson that sold them the car wasn't there. And he's like one of my best friends. And he had hit me up and he said, hey, I sold him a car like 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, man, it's a 72-hour roll and they didn't ask for you about a car. They asked for you about accessories. I'm selling them a car. And yeah, the way I did it was, you know, it was legit. It was pretty fucking gangster. But in the process of that, all of a sudden this fucking Taylor Swift song comes on and I'm thinking, fine. And so like I hit him up and I'm like, hey, I'm throwing you on the deal. And he's like, well, you know, you don't have to. And I'm like, I know, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Next right thing. And I felt good about that. Even though like fucking managers and salespeople, oh, what's up, Santa? Doesn't matter. Like, Personal integrity is about what you do when nobody's watching. And sure, it was like I totally didn't have to throw him on that deal. But I'd probably be sitting with it today. And I'll have to sit with it today. And as long as I'm not doing that, so he owes me one, and I'm doing it because it's a case by case situation. And that's my higher power working through me. You know, my higher power is like, look, man, they did mention his name. He does work at your store, even if it was for some other shit. Let's just do it. Here's a song to remind you of why you should. So I blame that person. Just kidding. Anyways, so higher power works that way for me. And the more and more I'm open-minded to it, the more and more I realize that it will help me along the way in my journey. So, yeah, this is about, you know, I got into Narcotics Anonymous because I wanted to not use drugs, not drink anymore. I stay in Narcotics Anonymous because I want to better my life. I want to better myself as a person. I want to not have to be like I used to have integrity. I want to be like I have this type of integrity now. And in that, I've been able to have what they call a conscious contact with my higher power regularly. I mean, make no mistake, I was sitting there thinking somebody fucking hated me, and then all of these little tiny signs popped up. Him talking about a little donkey, me walking into Wendy's, seeing that fucking Frosties thing, and then me writing a letter to myself, and then a little bit of grace. You know, I didn't get a fuck you. And so because of that, I'm able to have a different perspective, and because of that, I'm able to still be self-aware, have self-compassion, and continue to move forward. And so, yeah, man, higher power for me is super important. And if you're coming upon this video and you're just like, man, I just don't know what to do next, I don't know how to do next, I'm just sharing what's working for me. And it is working for me. I mean, there was a time that, like, if it was Saturday, man, there was no way I wasn't going to get loaded. No way. I can remember going home like, okay, today's the day, I'm not doing it. And I would go home and I would toss and turn. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to just go to sleep. Toss and turn, couldn't stop thinking, and then just text out, all right, let's do this. And I just kept asking and I knew I didn't want to. Like, it was like against my own will. Like, I prayed about it in the morning. Like, just please let this be the fucking day I don't get loaded. Please let this be the day that I start. And then fucking just... And I can't, like, I don't even feel like that anymore. And it's taken some time. So, today's a good day. And, yeah. That's all I got. I hope whoever's watching this has a wonderful day. If you've got days under your belt, fuck yeah. If you've got like 32 days under your belt, fuck yeah. 13 days under your belt, fuck yeah. 7 days under your belt, fuck yeah. We know what it's like to fucking not be able to muster up fucking 7, 3, 2, 1. So, hopefully you realize that there's something out there working for you too. It may not look like mine, but it looks like yours. And as you go through this, you'll probably develop some kind of relationship with that. And you'll be like, thank you. You know, and then your gratitudes will be like, fuck, at least I'm not there today. I mean, that first year, that first 6 months, every time I did a gratitude list, I was like, I'm so grateful I'm not in treatment today. You know, and don't get me wrong, treatment was a very spiritual, wonderful experience, but I don't want to go back. And I'm grateful that I had it. So that's all I got. Have a good day.